Hi everyone, in today's video I'm just going to be doing some stamping using the Share a Milkshake stamp set from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to be using my ScanNCut hopefully to cut the shapes out. This stamp set does come with dies and everything will be linked in the accompanying blog post here on my Apple Lover 53 website. But if you've got a ScanNCut you can cut the shapes out with your ScanNCut, so I'll show you what I've done so far. I've just pulled out 6 ink pads. So I've pulled out Pale Papaya and Calypso Coral. I've pulled out Fresh Freesia and Highland Heather. And I'm going to do Tahitian Tide and Starry Sky with you. And what I did was I just got myself a piece of card and put it into my Stamparatus. If you've got any kind of positioning tool, you know, you can do the same thing. If you've got any old ScanNCut mats, or if you own any other kind of electronic cutting machine and your mats have still got a little bit of stick but not a lot, I've cut this one down to 7.5 by 7.5 to fit in my Stamparatus. So I don't necessarily need to use the magnets, but I'm just keeping one on the side. So basically I put my piece of card in, I took all the solid images, so this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and then I also took the kind of 2 types of topping because there's no additional stamp that goes on top of that one, and I laid them out on my piece of card, pick them up with my Stamparatus. So I've got them all here. Okay, so I'm going to take that one out. I've got another piece of white card in here now that looks as though it's got a mark on it. So I'll turn it over. And then using my lightest colour first, so for this particular one it's going to be Tahitian Tide, I'm going to ink up the stamps that are on this side of this plate. Then I'm just going to bring this over and I'm going to press, and because I'm doing several stamps at once, the Stamparatus is great for this, because when I lift this up, if I've not got anything that I think looks particularly right, I'm missing a heart there, I've obviously not positioned this one well enough, but that's fine, I'm not unduly concerned about that. I can press down again. So then what I did, I got the second half of the stamps that go with the big jar and the bowl, which is this one and this one. I positioned them on top of these 2 shapes, and then I switched my plate around and I picked them up. So I'm just going to wipe this one down now with my wipe, just so that I don't get ink all over my fingers. And then obviously when I pick them up, I've got them here on this side of the plate. So I'm just going to close up Tahitian Tide, and I'm now going to bring in Starry Sky. And I'm going to do the same. So I'm just going to ink up these 2, press it down, lift it up, and that looks fine. I might just give it another little press there. So now when I lift this up, I've got all my 2-step stamping done. So I'm going to do some more colours. So my thinking is that I'm going to pick 2 colours that I think will work together, and I'm going to keep stamping like I've just shown you, this side and this side, and then I've got them on hand, and then I can just start working on making some cards. But now I'm going to do a direct cut with the ScanNCut and cut these out. So I'll just put this all on one side for now because I've finished with that for now. I'm going to bring in my ScanNCut mat, and I'm going to bring in one of my designs and just put this down on this mat. Now this is a low tack mat, but I did stick it a long time ago, so I'm hoping it's going to be sticky enough to hold this cardstock. And I look as though I've got a hair or something there. So this is going to get loaded into the ScanNCut machine, and then I'm going to show you how I'm hopefully going to cut these out. Now, to be honest, I'm not unduly bothered if it doesn't cut them all out. I'm just stamping them. I'm going to see what I get and see what I can use. One thing I have forgot to do is put the second stamp on there, but it doesn't matter. I can always just go back and do that at a later time. So hopefully, as you can see here, I've loaded the mat. I'm going to go into scan. I'm going to go direct cut, temporarily save the memory into the machine and start. This is going to scan the mat through the machine. So it's recognised my shapes. I'm going to say OK. I can see the shapes. I'm going to drag in the drag handles around this piece of white card and try and block out all those cut marks that it's picking up on my mat. I'm going to say preview. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to go into the offset icon and say I want a 0.04 offset. And I'm going to say OK, OK. That all looks OK from what I can see. And I'm going to say cut. And now start. So hopefully you should be able to see this. So if I just lift up the cardstock, and there are all the shapes. So I've got, you know, all the different elements that I wanted. And then what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put the next one on and repeat, and then I'm going to keep going, and I'll have all these elements in different colours that I can then mix and match when I want to make a card. So I'll carry on, and then I'll come back and I'll show you when I've got them all cut out. Okay, so for this one I just sent the whole page through with the two different colours on. I'm going to say OK. It looks as though it's recognised everything, so I'll just go with it. So I'm going to say preview. I am going to say ignore object size, because I can see there are some bits down here which are cuts on my mat, which I want to try and see if I can ignore, but without taking anything away from some of the things that I do want. So I'm going to say OK, OK. I can always delete those little bits. So I can see I've got a couple of stray bits here on the right, which are the marks on the mat. So I'm going to go edit, and I'm going to use the arrows just to get to these, or I can just try and click on them. But sometimes they're that tiny that you can't always get them. So these are all the bits that I do want. And that's one I don't, so I'm just going to send it to the rubbish. And I'm just going to keep arrowing through until I get to that other little one there on the right hand side. And I think that all looks okay, so I'm going to say okay. I'm not so sure if it's picked up all the hearts here, but again, I'm not unduly bothered. I probably won't even use them. I just stamp them just, you know, to see if it would pick them up. I'm going to say okay, select, cut, and start. Okay, so they've all cut out now, so I'll just unload the mat, and then now I've got all these other elements that I can use to make more cards. And here are all the bits. So as you can see, I've got all the purpley ones, the blue ones, and the peachy and terracotta ones. And then what I'll do, I'll just bring some more ink pads out. I'll do exactly the same while I've got all the stamps on my Stamper Artist. I'll stamp out another set, and then they'll go in this box. And then when I'm ready to make cards, this is the box I used, that I used to keep all the shapes I cut in from the scraps. If you saw that video, I'll link it at the end. And they can all go in there. And then, especially with this share a milkshake, because it's great to mix up your colours. So for instance, if I take that one and that one, and then maybe pop a straw in like so, you know, it's good to have all these different elements cut in different colours, and you can mix them all up and make your cards. So that's going to be another video where I'm going to make another card using some more of these elements. But as I say, for now I'm just going to pull out some more ink pads while I've got all the stamps on my Stamper Artist, and I'm going to stamp a load more and get the ScanNCut to cut them out. So I hope you found that helpful, especially for anybody that might be new to the ScanNCut. I know people are getting these machines even now, all these years, you know, down the line. People are just beginning to, you know, still get ScanNCut machines. So I hope this tip was helpful. Please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the bell notification icon and select all so you're notified when I upload videos or if I go live. And as I say, I'll put a link at the end of this video to the video I did a few weeks back showing you how I pull out all my scraps of card and how I just cut random shapes on the ScanNCut machine so that I've got them. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.